Okay, so this program is called streamstates.cpp, and it's also on your Canvas page, and there's a input file that goes with it that'll be directly underneath it. So when you set this project up, make for sure that you go to File and New, add that empty file in there, and then make for sure not only do you copy and paste the code from streamstates.cpp into your project, but in that empty file that you created, copy and paste the input from that input file into this file. I'm going to just generically call mine input.txt, but you could name it something different. This program will allow you to enter the name as you go. I've already got the green line here, but if you're seeing that yellow line, make sure that you save the input file before you go back to your program. In your program, you certainly don't have to do it this way, but I wanted to show you how you could set it up if you wanted to. So I have this function called streamCheck. So streamCheck doesn't return anything, so it's a return type void. And then inside streamCheck, it's going to receive the stream. It's going to receive basically the location of the stream, and then it's going to perform a check on it. So we'll talk about pointers and addresses and address operators and dereferencing later during the course. So for right now, let's just say that it's passing the location of the stream and just keep it simple. And then there's two types of streams that you might want to check. You might want to check your CN. So if you're checking CN is class iStream. We don't ever have to define it because it already comes in defined once you include IOStream. But there's std : iStream, and then the ampersand says make sure that you look at the actual CN if you're trying to pass it CN, and then it's going to call it input stream in the function. So it's just going to create a data table and print out bad, fail, end of file, and good. And then we'll do stream check and we'll do our input file stream. So our input file stream is going to be this object type if stream. So it's the same thing, if stream, the little ampersand to look at the location of it, and then it's the same guts of the function. So this helps keep this block of code from having to repeat it over and over and over again in your program. So here's our main in this case. So I'm going to add one new thing in this program, which is we can check and see if the file was opened or not. So we'll do ifstream fn, we'll do output file stream, so ofstream fout, and then we'll open it separately. So this might be an instance where you would want to open it separately. So we're going to prompt the user, what's the name of the input file stream? User types it in, it gets saved in MyString, and then it does an fn.open, and then it tries to open that file name. If you're working particularly with code blocks and you're getting an error with this, make sure you're going to Settings, Compiler. Make sure you have the G++ follow the C++17 GNU language standard selected. If you're on an older language standard, which code blocks will typically come in with the default setting, sometimes it doesn't have this ability to do an open where you pass it a string, but the current C++17 version of C++ does. So we'll do an if fn.fail, so if it's true that it failed, then it'll print out file not open, otherwise it'll print out file opened. And then we'll do the same thing with opening an output file. Now for your program 5, you're going to be reading from a data file and looking for errors, doing some error checking. So this would be kind of similar to how you might want your program 5 set up. So we've got a loop here that's a do loop. The while is down here. So this is the end of the close brace for the do loop. And so the while is going to be the exclamation point, so that's the not, fn.eof. So there's a couple different ways you could do this. This would be one of them. While it's not end of file, keep reading. So keep going until you hit end of file. Another way you could do this would be to do it while fn.good without the not, because as soon as it hits end of file, then fn is going to wind up being false, that it's in a good state. Okay, so let's see how this works. So we're going to keep track of a counter, so how many records we have. So we set that counter to 0 up here, and then we increment it every time we go through a line. Then we're going to print out the line number, and then we're going to run our function stream check. Then we're going to try to read in a line, so it's going to read in an integer, a float, a character, and a string. So the correct format should be integer, float, the character A, and then a string. So if we look at our data file, it'd be this first line, so integer, float, the character A, and then any combination of letters. So that first line should read correctly. The second line should read correctly. The third line should have a problem, not because of anything with the types, but it's reading in a C instead of an A, and then we may wind up having a problem where we have data that's still stuck in there. That'll be an issue. So then it'll print out what we read in. It'll print out the state of the errors. And then if we're in a good state, it'll print the data to a file. If we're not in a good state, or if the character was not equal to A, then we're going to clear it, ignore the rest of the buffer that's in the stream, and then we'll try and run it again. There's my input.txt, so it was true, the file exists, it was able to open it. Okay, so let's see what all it did. So before reading, the stream was in a good state, goodbit was set at true. After reading, it's still in a good state, so it's still true. And then everything was good, the character was equal to A, and we were in a good state. The ampersand is just a logical and, so both have to be true in order for this first statement to be true. And then it printed it out, so that's the data that were read, and then it prints them out to the data file. So it prints them out to the data file with a f out statement that has all of those variables just with tab separators in between. And let's take a look. So we read in the second line of data and we were in good shape. We read in the third line of data and it read it incorrectly. It read it correctly. But notice that it read the string more, but it didn't read data as part of the string because it had a space separator. So data is just sitting in that input stream ready to go still and causes problems. But we failed the test because the character was not equal to A. So even though goodbit was set at 0, we still failed here. So it still allowed our program to find that that was an error, not because of a problem with the stream state, but because of a problem with the data not validating. And so then we're able to clear it out. So it cleared out that data stream. The word data that was still in there is now gone because of that ignore to the end of the line. So now we're able to read the next line with no problem and print it out to the output file. And then when we try to read that last line, again, it doesn't hit a problem with the state of the stream, but since the data didn't validate, it wasn't an A here for a character, we got an error, and we're able to clear that out. And then finally, we have a fail to read. So we have a type mismatch with this last line here. When we try to read it in, we're trying to read 0.32 into an integer. So that type mismatch means that failbit is set to 1, but we haven't hit end of file yet. So we clear that out. Then we try to read past the end of the file. Notice that there's still those old values in there, and it just, because the stream crashed, it just failed to read anything new into it. But now we hit end of file. So since we hit end of file, then we're done. And we exit out of the loop. So you can kind of hopefully use this as a model program to continue working on your program 5. If you have any questions or any problems, let me know. Thanks for watching.